Okay, so how is everyone today? We've got something that I was very excited to find because I've been wanting to do a video about this for a while, but I've been trying to find a good source. And since I'm dealing a lot with James Lovette, he was nice enough to accommodate me, not on purpose, mind you. This is purely coincidental. But he has done a video about quantum grammar. So I thought this would be a great time so that we could talk about it and listen to his video and talk about what this quantum grammar is and why no one has ever heard of it before. So let's get into it here.
Hey, what's up, YouTube friends and family? It's your boy the
Right, he did this little thing where he pretended to be interrupted in conversation. Kind of cute, but whatever.
Bad Wolf. All right, so it's just being silly today, guys. First of all, let's start off with thank you guys for helping me to reach 8,260 people. I see your names pop up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's just
Yeah, so he's got more subscribers now. At the time this video was recorded, I don't know when, he claims to be behind in his video uploads, which is perfectly fine. I mean, that's perfectly reasonable. I'm not saying it's a problem, but I think this video was recorded way before it was posted. So just bear that in mind.
amazing that there's that many of you guys that are on this, and I mean the numbers have been exploding. Like, I'm totally humbled. I never even expected that, and especially because of the fact that like this information is very rarely known these days, and a lot of this is just word of mouth because YouTube ain't really trying to sponsor or push my stuff forward. So that also being said, I want to let you guys know that before.
It's not YouTube's responsibility to push your video forward. They're the platform.
You guys either hit me up for certain questions or you can't.
I think he probably said that because it feeds back into his delusion that he has affected some kind of change in the way, in regards to the way documents are filed or something like that. So yeah, I think that's probably partly why he said that.
Find a certain, you're like, hey, I haven't seen any new videos. Go to the main page, guys, right here. So you go to the main page. You guys can do a search, and this is going to search through my videos for topics that I have, labeled with the proper tags or the title of the particular videos. Or you can just scroll down and see, which videos I've got. All the videos. So right here, guys, this is going to tell you which ones are the popular ones, all that good jazz. So yeah, and also for the people who are the members only videos, those are now going to also pop up right here, so you can see all the videos that are just for the Wolf Pack. So now let's talk to the Wolf Nation. That's what we're going to call it. All right. So the Wolf Nation, or the Nation of Wolves. I like it. Either way, remember, we are non-combatants, non-belligerents, non-persons, non-individuals. And this is for U.S. national state citizens, American nationals, nationals of the United States of America, the Republic, under the geographical constitution.
What? I mean, just what? I caught non-individual. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm an individual. I'm a person. I'm me. What the hell? Pardon me, but what the hell was that?
All right. All the rest of you U.S. citizens who are wholeheartedly, we love you. Stage that away. Okay. That being said, let's get into it. Well, thank you guys for the donations and the support on Black Side 32 and the Bad Wolf Media channel, the personal channel of your boy, the Wolf. Okay, now let's get into it. This particular video is going to be about BAIL, the game of quantum syntax grammar. And this is by James Cloud. Now, I know Russell J. Gould and David, I think, Wynn Meyer also have their...
It's David Wynn Miller. So it's David Wynn Miller.
Information out there. I reached out to Russell, but I haven't heard anything back, so... Okay. Anyway, so in reading this particular book, okay, what is quantum syntax grammar? Now, remember, when they created the English language, everything has rules. Just because you guys only went and studied, the basics of it, how to, conjugate a sentence and put things together and whatever else.
That's pretty much how the English language works. You conjugate verbs, you use pronouns, nouns, adverbs. There's punctuation in there. I mean, this is pretty much settled. I mean, there's no controversy here.
Doesn't mean that there weren't finer nuances of this. I don't even know if they teach this anymore, but this...
They never taught this, ever. It's not real. It was never taught in schools.
This is the base code. This is the DNA of the English language.
No, it's not. And I'll explain.
Now, when the system adopted English as being the official language, that means they had to abide by the official rules and codes of it. So, this is off the record. If something...
Big secret coming up. Big secret.
That they put together, such as, hypothetically, a ticket, a summons, a court case, whatever it is, if they are not following the rules, it is null and void. Now, that doesn't exactly mean that you...
That's the first time I have ever heard of court language or legal language to be null and void if it's not written in this mythical... it's called In the Truth or In Truth. I found it. I'll go over it. But yeah, so I'm... James, this quantum grammar is not real. It was never taught in schools. No one learns this crap because it doesn't exist.
The case and whatever else is just going to magically go away. But this does give you the grounds that you can challenge them on the validity of it. Say, you are you going to serve me with something and your ticket's not in the proper structure, or your summons, or your whatever?
Trust me, if the court issues documents like a summons, subpoena, warrant, it is written in the proper language. It is written the way that legal documents are supposed to be written, and they're formatted that way. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's done this way for the history of the United States. You understand? These things have been done this way for hundreds of years. So saying that it's all of a sudden wrong because some guy invented some kind of dialect that he believes that legal documents should be structured in is completely false.
Now, there are other things that are associated you can challenge, but that's in other videos. And I'm still learning some things, but anyway.
It's not worth it, James. Just put it away. It's not worth it. Don't learn it. Please don't.
So, what can we tell you about this? Okay, so, trying to see if I have any main things highlighted. Okay, so a few of the rules of engagement as listed here. What keeps us here and now on the court of a contract? Okay, so example, present tense only. In order for their things to be valid, they have to always and only speak in the present tense.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Why can't you speak in past tense or future tense? Things have happened or things will happen. And all of it, speaking past tense, present tense, future tense, is all correct. You will not find an English major, an English PhD, someone with a PhD in English, who is going to say that this is correct.
So no use of words showing past or future tense, those will be considered out of bounds, that invalidated that statement, okay, that ticket or whatever else. Positive only sentences or information, no negativity in the form of words with a prefix that renders them to be negative.
The prefix? What? The prefix renders the word invalid? Like, I don't get it.
Okay, so no negative structuring. The next one, structures of the page should have no open spaces. Okay, so as I've done here between sentences, this breaks up continuity of evidence. So you know how they tell you put a space between your sentences? Nope, nope, nope.
So it's supposed to be one big run-on sentence with no spaces between the words? That's the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that?
That's actually in error. That's out of bounds. Okay. Also, another example: no boxes. Boxes removes whatever content is in it from the page of what. So whatever's inside of it is removed. This breaks up continuance of evidence. So
I think I'm going to be using my my what GIF a lot in this video, because none of it makes any sense. Like, because something is in a box in a legal document, it removes the contents of that box from the page. I don't understand where he thinks that this is even remotely the way the English language works, the way it's worked for the last, 500 years. I mean, the U.S. has been a country since 1776. So they were talking this way for a long time, and nobody has ever said that it was wrong.
They box something, which a lot of them do. I mean, even if the whole thing has a box around it, that means everything in there is null and void. It's not there.
That is not a legal term. Has no basis in logic. It's so ridiculous.
Okay, which is why we told you guys about the four corners rule of not having boxes or boxing putting brackets or box around your zip code and whatever else. Legally, that means it's not on the paper. They can never use those things against you. And if they try to, sorry, not according to quantum syntax grammar.
Which has no force of law, James. Nobody operates in that language. Period. Nobody.
All right, so what else have we got here? No underlining. How many times have you seen something that was underlined? And remember, you sign on a line. So technically your name is underlined. Okay? Underlining erases words from the...
So that basically nullifies every single contract written ever. If what he's saying is even remotely true, it nullifies every contract written on the face of the planet ever. How does that make sense? How is this the first time anybody, and by the way, this is not the first time anybody has ever heard about this. This is not new. But this is the first time James has been dealing with it, and he needs to be educated.
Page. This is not here. All right? So... potential grammar fraud, you can tell them. This note has various errors and it has been rendered no contract and potential grammar fraud. Okay?
No contract lawyer will ever support what he's saying. They can't. I mean, it's just... I've said it once, I've said it a million times. It's ridiculous.
Ridiculous!
Like, for instance, the word disarm, okay, dis. That negates it. So what? To disarm means to not have an arm? Can't have it on there. Not in the proper, not with proper syntax grammar. Oppose. We oppose your information. Nope. OP. That's a negative.
The OP makes it a negative?
All right. Rules of engagement. Contracts that are not completely understood by all parties are fraudulent. So if you didn't...
That is true. If you do not if you don't understand a contract, yes, you can say that you signed it unknowingly, or whatever the legal term is. I'm not a lawyer. I don't pretend to be. But yes, if you think that you signed a contract without fully understanding the clauses and elements of that contract, it could be argued and rendered null and void. But that's for a judge to decide.
Understand the entire contract, word for word, letter for letter, statement for statement, and it's not done in the proper syntax.
But it definitely has nothing to do with the way that the court filings or lawsuit or whatever it happens to be was written incorrectly.
It's not contractual. It is void. A statement not refuted or rebutted is considered to stand as fact. That's why I want to tell you guys
that's not true either. A statement that is not rebutted proves that it's fact. I watch channels that deal a lot with logical fallacies, and I'm sure this is one of them, and I wish I knew which one, because that is absolutely the most asinine thing I have ever heard.
I have to get back to you when you mail these things out, line for line, thing for thing, and it has to be proven just. Like, here's the information to go against what you sent us. If they don't do that or they ignore it, smells Wargo, then it is considered to be null and void. They have voided the contract. Whether they know it or not does not matter. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Okay? So they didn't abide by quantum syntax. They also didn't abide by commercial law and the maximums of such. So
I think what he's talking about, the maximums, is that this particular doctrine or this viewpoint that has to do with this quantum grammar is they use a mathematical equation, produces a value, and that value determines whether or not the sentence was written correctly or something like that. So I think that's like the maximum number, minimum, who knows. This is all just nonsense. Even he doesn't really understand it.
It also says, he who is unaware, allow him to be. I mean, you don't have to tell them, okay? But you need to stay in honor, okay? So when somebody does send you something, you respond back and you rebut it. The future is an illusion and the past does no longer exist. They aren't real on this true time game court. So they can't really phrase things in the past, and they can't really... Prior to this, you had done this, which was disarm, whatever, no. Currently, this is where things are, and so that it has to speak in the present tense, always. Okay, so a couple examples would be like experience, interesting. You can't have these... the pretenses to these words that are negative. Exactly, interested, discovery. The dis part of it makes it void. Needed.
So lawyers frequently talk about the discovery, which is the information that the prosecutor and defense counsel share. And it is referred in legal documents as the discovery. So that whole word invalidates that legal document, because that word is not supposed to be on a legal document according to this quantum grammar. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
Needed. Okay. The word to, even if they use the word to, it's just that could, would.
So half the English language is just tossed out because it doesn't count. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I'm sorry, James, but my opinion of you is lowered because of this. Like, you can't tell me that you really believe this stuff. It's absolute nonsense.
Underhanded, also another negative word. Nothing, because there's no in there. That's a negative. Agreed and to are also not a part of proper syntax grammar. Attached, the at, definitely, def, de. Will, we will prosecute. They got the will in there. Guess what? Nope. Don't, so do not. Nope, can't use that either. Unreserved, subordinate, dishonest. Nope. Those are all not in proper format for the English language. So, guys, that's about it for this video.
Thank God.
Grab yourself this particular book
Don't.
if you want to learn more. Otherwise, that's it, your boy, the Bad Wolf, bringing you some of that I say. So I say.
Oh, all right. I'm just gonna stop it right there before he makes a fool out of himself, or a bigger fool out of himself. So listen, this is what I found about some of these things. So here's David Wynn Miller, and he mentioned David Wynn Miller before as a colleague of what's his name, James Merle Cloud, who wrote the Game of Quantum Syntax Grammar, which is available on Amazon for $15.72 Canadian. That is so sad. And then Smuggling Light, a San Quentin Prison Minister's Journal, also written by James Merle Cloud. I don't know if it's the same James or Merle Cloud. They're different. There's a hyphen in this one. But anyway, yeah, that's what I found. And he's a colleague of David Wynn Miller. Now, I'm going to read this excerpt from his wiki here. Okay, unfortunately, he has passed on June 22nd, 2019. Also styled David Wynn Miller, or David Wynn Miller, was an American tool and die welder. He had no formal training in the English language. Proponent of conspiracy theories and leader of a far-right tax protest group within the sovereign citizen movement. He was a proponent of the use of a certain syntax he created, okay, to be used by people involved in legal proceedings. He referred to his syntax as quantum language parse syntax grammar, which he asserts constitutes correct sentence structure communication syntax. This is a variation of the tax protest capital letters argument, a form of strawman theory. People seeking remedy with Miller's syntax in court have not met with success. Have not met with success. Okay. Yeah, this just nothing. The only thing I found on James Merle Cloud is this, and it's only a link to his book on Amazon. But I did find this. This was interesting. This is in the United States District Court of the Western District of Wisconsin. These are a list of plaintiffs and defendants against people like David Wynn Miller. They like going after banks and mortgage corporations because they deal with contracts a lot, and they are saying that David Wynn Miller is saying that all the contracts are written incorrectly, which makes them null and void. So every contract written in the world is invalid. So I'm just going to read this judgment, okay? In December 10, 2012, this is old, so just keep that in mind. I dismiss case numbers, this one, this one, this one, and this one. That's 4 cases, because the complaints filed to alleged comprehensible facts or state a cognizant claim, because the complaints failed to allege comprehensible facts. Comprehensible facts. or state a cognizable claim. Each of these complaints was brought in part by Russell J. Gould, which Mr. Lovette spoke about, who styled himself as a federal judge, and each complaint included language attempting to claim a copyright in his name and that of David Wynn Miller. So he was trying to convince the court that he copyrighted his name. You can't copyright a name, not a proper name. A brand name, that's something else, but not a proper name. You cannot copyright a proper name. Now, the court has received 5 new complaints in the above captioned cases. Gould has signed 2 of the complaints and Miller has signed 3. In their stated capacity as federal judges, in quotation marks, they are all as unintelligible as the cases I have previously dismissed. As with earlier cases, the plaintiffs appear to be complaining about mortgage foreclosures. That's why they're all banks and mortgage lenders, but the pleadings contain no basis for a cognizable claim. A district court must dismiss a complaint for lack of subject matter jurisdiction if the complaints stated are so insubstantial, implausible, foreclosed by prior decisions of the United States Supreme Court, or otherwise completely devoid of merit as not to involve a federal controversy. And then he states case law to support his decision. Because plaintiff's complaints are unintelligible, I conclude that these cases should be dismissed on the court's own motion for lack of subject matter jurisdiction. Moreover, this is not the first time that the court has encountered Gould and Miller's unconventional syntax and vocabulary. In United States v. blah blah, it's some name. There's the case number. I stated the following. So this judge was presiding over that case as well. So he states, I stated the following. Defendant is a follower of David Wynn Miller, aka David Wynn Miller, or I'm sorry, aka colon, David hyphen Wynn Miller colon, or I can't even do it. David hyphen Wynn colon Miller, the leader of a subgroup of tax protesters within the sovereign citizen movement. Fundamentally, Miller and adherents of his philosophy believe that their income may not be taxed and that federal courts do not have jurisdiction over them because they are persons without citizenship, sovereign unto themselves. In most ways, the underlying belief of Miller and those who follow him are not distinguishable from those of any other tax protester, whose arguments have been well documented elsewhere. And then more case law. There is one characteristic that distinguishes Miller's group from others, however. The hallmark of David Wynn Miller and his followers is their use of an English dialect they call in the truth. The dialect, invented by Miller, purports to be based on mathematics and is characterized by an abundant use of prepositional phrases, the absence of action verbs, except in gerund form, and the overuse of hyphens and colons. In addition, speakers of the dialect reject the use of pronouns, adjectives, and adverbs. Example, David Wynn Miller's website. I did go to this website. It is still up and running. Where is it? Is it here? Yes, it's right here. Here's the website. At least that's the web address. This is all that comes up. So you see he lists himself as a judge. Yeah. So back to the judgment. Okay. In the truth, the dialect invented by Miller purports to be based on mathematics, characterized by an abundance of the hyphens and colons. In addition, speakers of the dialect reject the use of pronouns, adjectives, and adverbs. Example, David Wynn Miller's website. We went there. Demonstrating formula for creating sentences using in the truth. See also notations by David Wynn Miller on the back of each page of the exhibits attached to docket 18, purporting the other suggestions for translating court orders and government filings to In the Truth. So that was that judge's judgment on those previous cases. So we continue with his current judgment, or at least the one from 2012. Miller's above-cited website is still operative, describing Miller as plenipotentiary judge. Plenipotentiary? So it appears that he is still in business. However, neither Miller nor Gould is actually a federal judge, and it is likely that they are not licensed lawyers. So they cannot represent other persons in court. The United States District Court for Eastern District of Wisconsin has ordered its clerk of court to return all filings presented by Miller or on his behalf. More case law describing why he did that. I conclude that a similar sanction is appropriate for this court. Accordingly, any further similarly styled complaints filed by or on behalf of Russell J. Gould or David Miller will be deemed dismissed after 30 days unless the court otherwise orders otherwise. Example, Alexander v. United States. That's his case law for why he's doing this. If any of the plaintiffs in the above captioned cases or any would-be client of Gould or Miller believes that he or she has claim that can be brought in federal court, the complaint will have been written in plain English. Okay? So it is ordered that the above captioned cases are dismissed with prejudice for lack of subject matter jurisdiction. Russell J. Gould and David Wynn-Miller are sanctioned as described above, entered this 6th day, December 2012 by, that's the judge. Okay, so that is my little bit about quantum grammar. It is absolute nonsense, makes no sense, and should not be used by anybody, and in fact is not used by anybody. Okay? Have a good one.